Hey, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. Thanks for tuning in to The Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, you can send me an email to themikewagnershow@gmail.com, or you could also donate to the podcast. Just go to the Donate Listen site, and you can also donate whatever you like. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. For those who are interested, Anchor can give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. We've got creation tools, allows you to record and edit podcasts so it sounds great, and they'll distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, many more. And you can make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app for free or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's on the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check the Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, as well as Stitcher and Deezer. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on YouTube and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful gentleman from Austin, Texas, who just has a very unique sound, and he's kind of like on top of the world. He's the president of Sky Titan Media and musician, and has a group called Strings of Atlas, and he's got a new album coming out soon called Chords of Eve, and a lot of experience, Ground Zero, Texas, So Far From Home, Atomic Girls and everything else, and loves to live in a better world. And he just has a really unique story telling about his roots, where he came from, and how he got the name, and just significant events which made him as he is today. So live, ladies and gentlemen, from beautiful Austin, Texas, the Titan of all Texas, Atlas Cage. Atlas, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Mike, how you doing? Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, I'm doing great. So Atlas, you're president of Sky Titan Media. You're also a musician, and you're from Austin, Texas, and you've got a new album that's going to be coming out soon called Chords of Eve, and you also put out Ground Zero, Texas, So Far From Home, Atomic Girls, and more. And you kind of drive yourself as part beat poet, part rock and roll, full-time wandering soul, and just unique, like with urban rock, hard rock, and just a unique blend of just about everything. And also you've had a couple of significant events. And before we get into all of that, tell us how it got started.
Oh, man, how it got started. Years and years ago, I've always been into rock and roll. My mom's kind of been the influence on me on that. And when I was in elementary school, she had gotten me an acoustic guitar, because I just wanted to learn guitar so badly. And I remember the first time I played it, I was like, why doesn't this sound the same? This doesn't sound like, this isn't Hendrix or Black Sabbath. What is this? And I put the guitar in a closet, and I didn't play it again for years. I went into the typical things of going into orchestra in middle school, and it was fun, but it wasn't really for me. And it wasn't until high school where I got my first actual electric guitar. And that was the moment where I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And it kind of just went from there. I started in high school in a metal band. What was it called? Megaton and we were just loud death metal, crazy kids having fun with it. No one knew what to do with it. And as that, started to progress, I started learning a bit more about guitar and learned how to play bass. And then I got into college and learned about production, met some people who did hip hop and started working with them. And I scored a couple of student films and did a couple of short films of my own. And it just kept going.
Wow, that's amazing. Where did you go to school at?
I went to UTEP in El Paso, And I started in New Mexico State, and then after college there, I interned at a place called the Sonic Ranch in Tornillo, Texas. And that was where I met the head engineer there, Charles Godfrey. He and I, we've been friends ever since now. This is going on, I guess, probably about 12 years. And we just continue to work on music together. He's been helping me really hone my sound with Strings of Atlas. That's kind of been my long-term project. And actually, you were mentioning it earlier, Chords of Eve is a futuristic like trip hop project that's going to be coming out on Sky Titan Media's releases.
Wow, we've been hearing a lot about that and looking forward to it. And how did you come up with the name Strings of Atlas? And what is the meaning behind Strings of Atlas? And how did you come up with the name?
Strings of Atlas, it's funny. A lot of people think that it's because I play so many stringed instruments that it was just kind of the gag on it. But really, I kind of came up with that after the first song I had written. I realized I was kind of really, it was things that tugged at my heart a bit, and it was the heartstrings of Atlas. You know, everything I was writing was a bit more personal than I was used to, especially in doing things like death metal, where you're writing about zombies and vampires attacking people, and it was more of a show and an act there, whereas Strings of Atlas kind of became a bit more heartfelt and more of like me wanting to show what I had been through and kind of relate to people who are either going through something like that or, you know, would start to go through something like that, and kind of let them feel what I felt and know that they're not doing it by themselves and that they're not the first ones who have done it or go through it.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing as well, too. And who are some of your favorite artists and singers and musicians growing up?
Oh, man, favorites. There are so many on that. I would say one of my biggest influences when I started was probably Rob Zombie, who my mom liked the music, I liked the music, and we just got a big kick out of it. And I actually met him a few years ago briefly, and it was this moment where we kind of bumped into each other. He kind of looked at me and just gave me a nod. He's like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Hey." And that was it. I was just like, "You're the best. You're the best." And I mean, a lot of rock musicians were big influences on me, and then hip hop as I started to get a little bit more into that. Monster Magnet, which is a band not a lot of folks have heard about, but that was honestly probably the defining moment in me in picking the style that I was doing for Strings of Atlas, was listening to Monster Magnet and being like, these guys get it. They get me. So I always kind of go back to that. I'm like, when people say, what's the first band that really influenced this style? I'm like, it was Monster Magnet. Even though it probably sounds nothing like them, I'm like, yeah, they were the ones that really got me into this and really kind of inspired me to write.
It sounds like it too, and Audioslave was also a part of influences as well as Royal Blood, and give us a little story behind that.
Yeah, Royal Blood. I've only recently heard them. They probably started off a couple years back, and it was almost like instant. When I heard them, it was just a sound. I was like, I have to hear more. These guys are amazing, amazing. And you talk about Audioslave, and I always thought one day I would get to a point in my music where I could collaborate with these big name artists and the people that I was idolizing growing up. And I was so hurt when Chris Cornell passed away. I was like,
oh yeah, that was terrible.
But amazing, amazing singer. I could only wish to be half as good as he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like it as well, too. And, of course, we'll talk about some of your works as well, too, and some appearances. And you also had a little bit of appearances in short films. I'll talk about that. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. You can also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with Atlas Case, the president of Sky Titan Media and musician from Austin, Texas. We talked about some of his background, his influences, and we'll be talking a little bit about Chords of Eve, his wonderful project. And Sky Titan Media, you formed, and tell us about your company and what influenced you to form Sky Titan Media.
Well, you know, Originally, when I went to college, I went in for business administration because I thought I already had been doing music for a while, and I kind of got a hang on that, but I don't really know much about the business side of it. And my ultimate goal back then was to start a record label. And then, as it went on, I kind of realized that business, at least at the time, was definitely not really my thing. And especially getting in those accounting classes and everything, I was like, oh, no, this is not for me. I need to just pick up this guitar and keep going. Mm-hmm. But I think, honestly, that might have been a blessing in disguise because it forced me to go out there and take a lot of chances with my music and interact with people that I wouldn't normally interact with or normally get a chance to. And just kind of round out my education, really learn about the pitfalls and things, what other people were dealing with, what managers were doing, what promotional people were doing, and really kind of just building that foundation. And then circling back to it, a decade later, I realized just how much more I knew about it, and I wanted to go back into it. I think it was just something I really wanted to do. I really enjoy working with other artists, and in the band, the way I do it now, a lot of it tends to be on just me. I play the guitar, bass, drums, kind of sing a little bit, learning all the recording. I do most of the production like in-house. So a lot of it's isolating now. It's not the same as being out there on the road with a band. So when I started to see the opportunities to help other artists develop what their talent was and kind of get them into the music industry, I thought, let's give it a shot. Sky Titan Media was born.
Mm-hmm. And it's also well worth it, too. As a result, not only had 3 albums, Ground Zero Texas, So Far From Home, Atomic Girls, you also were an independent film score, 3 short films, and you appeared on Ninja Warrior, and you also have been heard from Florida to Texas, and you also had a big break with Atomic Girls. You can just tell us about your albums and also tell us about some of your appearances in films, too, and Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Oh, Ninja Warrior. Those were some fun times, honestly. I actually, I just started a vlog when I started Sky Titan to where I was kind of doing just a behind the scenes, kind of give people a rounded out view of what the musician is behind the music. And I found my old Ninja Warrior audition tapes from like 2006.
Oh, wow.
And, production-wise, they don't really hold up. You could tell what was going on in it. And I decided to go back out and see if I could still do some of those same moves. I don't even know 13 years later, something like that. And I could do 90% of them still. So I was happy about that. I did not. I left out the part of how winded I was after them. I was like, cut the camera. It's all right.
Well, something next time we have you on, maybe you can demonstrate some moves for us. We're on video and everything else. You could also dress up and put on some moves for us. I'd love to see you do something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in that same vein, I actually have started a wrestling career too, a pro wrestling. A very indie group, but I've been doing that for about a year and a half, and we do quarterly shows, and I'm right there jumping off the top rope. I'm doing it.
And you call yourselves the PWR, Party World Wrestling. So how'd you get involved with wrestling in the first place?
I've always been a long time fan of pro wrestling ever since I was a kid. And, everyone kind of had those dreams of when I grow up, I'm going to be this wrestler, I'm going to do these things. And then you get into the real world and it doesn't really work out that way. But my fiance, actually, she introduced me to one of the wrestlers there as a friend of hers. And I was like, how can I barter my way into this? I'm like, what if I did some of the theme songs for you guys? Would you teach me how to wrestle? And they were like, sure, show up to the school. And I thought they were joking, honestly, but I showed up, and sure enough, day one, they were like, all right, let's get in the ring and start working on it. And we started training. And about a year later, I started actually doing matches in it and getting to wrestle. And it's been going well ever since. We got a match coming up in March. And yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's not something I expected to get into in my 30s. Mm-hmm. And you definitely feel it when you hit that mat. A lot of people think it's a trampoline, but it is not. It is definitely not.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on the circuit as well, too. And where will you be touring with the pro wrestling circuit, the PWR?
Most of our shows are in Austin. The majority of our gigs come out of here. On occasion, we'll do shows around. We did one in Houston last year, and sometimes we'll do them in San Antonio and Dallas. But for the most part, they're all Austin-based as opposed to a touring indie circuit.
Okay. All right. And also, too, who are some of your favorite pro wrestlers growing up?
Oh, man. Number one, Jeff Hardy. Of the Hardy Boys, he was my absolute favorite. He's the one I try to emulate now, honestly, just because everything he did just kind of blew my mind. It was like he was always pushing the envelope on these new and kind of risky moves, which of course, makes like my fiance and my mother very nervous every time I talk about it. They're like, don't try that. No going through tables. Don't do that. But
don't try this at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't. But he was my absolute favorite. But of course, there's, The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, all the ones that I don't think there was anyone who was watching wrestling at the time that wasn't impacted by them.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I remember some of the days wrestling too is with my sisters, later my pets, my friends. And if I tried to wrestle one day, I'd probably get pinned in 1 second or less.
I try to wrestle people now and they're like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Well, I could see why too. And maybe in your shows, maybe you can get people to wrestle too, in case just to let off some energy instead of a mosh pit, have like a wrestling pit or something.
There you go.
And of course, talking about, your stage presence and everything else too. You've been in a few films. And of course, we did talk about Ninja Warrior. And tell us about some of the films you and your music has been in.
Yeah. So film was kind of a new thing to me that I got introduced to in college. There was a creative writing class that I was doing, and a buddy of mine, he had written a script, and there were just some pieces missing, and he was struggling with it, and he's like, we should just work on this. He's like, show me what ideas you have. And we came up, I think it was called Skin Deep, and we did this short little, it was maybe a 6-minute film we got to do there at the school, and we just got just such a great reaction to it. And I mean, of course, going back and looking at it, there's so many things you want to pick apart at it as the creator on it. You're like, oh, we should have done this different and done this and done this. But honestly, at the time, people were just so into it and so supportive of it. We gave it a shot and did a few more. I think the longest of the short films, if that makes any sense, that we did was 45 minutes. It was the Edison bomb. And that was kind of a post-apocalyptic, futuristic-based thing where this underground group is kind of trying to dethrone the government that's taking over everyone's lives. And it was a ton of fun to do. And I mean, so much work. We were on that, 12 hours a day for weeks and weeks just trying to get this stuff recorded and then actually doing the editing and then going back and doing the scoring. But that was really one that kind of opened my eyes up on how scoring a film is different than writing a song.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And of course, and what's the difference from your aspect of it?
I think when you're writing a song, at least for me, when I'm writing a track, I kind of imagine a scenario in my head and then write a song that I feel would fit that if it were to happen. But when you're actually scoring a film, the film's already made and you're trying to just kind of enhance what's happening there. You're not trying to write a full-on, power ballad to go through it, but maybe you just want a little bit of guitar here or just a little bit of piano there or something to kind of heighten it. And you don't want to write a standalone piece. You want to write something that accompanies that and really makes it like an encompassing experience. And that's where I started to learn really what you were doing there in terms of scoring for something else like that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you like scoring?
I like it a lot. I got a chance to do Foley art for a few of them too, which that was something never occurred to me. And it lets you do a lot creatively to make a sound that doesn't seem like it's very creative. Mm-hmm. And as far as you're doing, when you get like someone gets punched and you hear in one like Jackie Chan's movies, he gets hit and you hear like this crunch on him and everything. And you think you're doing something, you got something bone breaking or they're smashing things up. But in reality, it's a sound designer who just splits a watermelon in half and records that sound. And they just got hit in the face so hard that, and knocked them out of their shoes.
Cracking a watermelon. I think I'll have to try that sometime in case I feel like hitting somebody.
There you go.
Oh, that's something to keep in mind too. And where can we check out some of the movies?
I know I've got the trailers on my own site, or on YouTube anyway. If you go to Sky Titan Media on YouTube, I've got them on there. The actual films, they were all put on DVD back in the day, and they just kind of floated away. I think I've got a couple copies in a box somewhere. I might need to digitize them, get them online. Some of them are just in the ether now.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well too, and you can do that pretty soon too, and we'll talk about your few albums as well too. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with Atlas Cage, president of Sky Titan Media and musician. He's from Austin, Texas, and we talked about some of his experience as well, too, including a little bit of wrestling and also a little bit of film work and everything else. And we talked a little bit about the upcoming album that's going to be out pretty soon, Chords of Eve. But also you had some experience with Ground Zero, Texas, So Far From Home, and Atomic Girls, a few of your releases. And tell us about some of those releases as well, too.
Yeah, for sure. The last release I did for Strings of Atlas was the In a Better World album, and that was in 2015. And that one got a lot of traction. That one I definitely was able to put a lot more into production-wise. And Charles did the drums for me on that one. And that album just came out really, really well. That actually took me I moved to Michigan from Austin for about a year because I was just doing so many shows and so many interviews in the Midwest then based on that album. I just figured that was the spot I needed to be in. So I moved out there, was out in the snow for about a year, and then moved back to Austin. And so the album that's coming out in April, that one's actually How Far We've Come is the title of that EP. It's a 3-track, and it was kind of inspired by just sort of looking back at everything. And, sometimes you get that feeling of you're not where you thought you would be. And because of that, you feel like you haven't done anything, like you've been kind of just spinning your wheels. And I had those moments in music where I'm like, okay, where did I think I was going to get to and where am I at now? And I just felt for a while there that I wasn't really doing my best at it, that I was missing something. And, How Far We've Come was my kind of reflection looking back on that and being like, no, look at all of these shows and all of these albums and these interviews and all these people that you've met. And it was just kind of like it started to write itself. I was like, okay, this is what it needs to be. And so I'm excited about that one. I'm excited to have that one come out and see how it vibes with people. That'd be great, too. And we're looking forward to it as well, too. And where can people find your albums at? Everywhere. I fought for so long to get them on iTunes back in 2009 before it was, throw it on CD Baby and have someone put it up there. iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, stream everything on Spotify you can. That's a big deal. Helps us out. And on SkyTitanMedia.com. We got everything on there as well. Anybody wants to check them out, you can stream on it. We got the music videos on there. We got the vlogs up on there. So good bit of content out there for people to check out. Yeah, sounds great, too. You got a lot of big plans for 2020. And any plans for a possible tour in 2020 or sometime in the future? I've been thinking about it. I pulled back from the road. Like back in 2009, I was just on the road constantly. I packed up my instruments in the car and I just drove, and I lived in that car for like a year and a half. And I DJ'd at places and I played gigs and I fill in for drummers and play for them when bands didn't have them. And I just did music forever on the road. And when I moved to Austin, I was doing shows probably 4 to 5 nights a week. Mm-hmm. And it was tough. I think people don't realize just because you go out and play an hour and a half show that it seems like it's just, it's easy work. Go out there and do whatever and then head back. But they're also not accounting for the day job that came before it and moving all the equipment and getting all the people together. And it started to kind of slow me down a little bit. And I got more into the behind the scenes and I wanted to help produce other people. So tour wise, I love playing on stage. I love being out there and meeting the crowd. I don't have anything planned yet, but we'll see how it goes. When a new album comes out, the last new one I had come out was 2015. So who knows, that energy might kick in where it's like, nope, I got to go out here and play some of these shows. So I a few years back, I bought a bus. I bought this bus out of a junkyard and spent about 9 months just rebuilding it and turning it into a tiny home so I could tour in it. Nice. That's a big trend they have out there. Buy a school bus and make a nice little home out of it. It's like, you're giving me some great ideas. I'll tell you that. I think I'll go buy a bus right now if we get done with you. So do it. I can show you how to put in hardwood floors. Oh, yes. That'd be so ideal. I could think of much stuff.
And of course, just a couple of things right here. We'd love to have you back on sometime 2020. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
My mom. As cheesy as it is to say, I will say my biggest influence and my personal driver in being always introducing me to music and always being supportive of everything. She has been there from day one, from the death metal days to the record label now. But in the unofficial capacity, officially, like, my biggest influence now, it's still, in terms of the record label, I like following what Fueled by Ramen does. I feel like they really take care of their artists and they're always doing something interesting with it. And as far as the bands themselves, it's just always Monster Magnet. I'm just like, when can we go on tour together? That's when I would go on tour. I would pack up the bus today to go out there and tour with Monster Magnet.
There you go.
Let's throw me on the bill. Let's do it.
Oh, that'd be something. Yeah, that'd be something. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice I can give people is, I would say, don't rush what you want to do. Definitely don't stop. I feel like when you tell people don't rush, it feels like you're telling them take their time in terms of like, don't do this, don't worry about this yet, you can do it tomorrow. But more of, don't get ahead of yourself and miss any of the important steps it takes to get you there. I think I was sort of in a rush to become this rock star person that I had in my head, that I was so focus on just do the gigs, keep going out and doing this, that I missed all the other things that actually make up that music career. And I think that tunnel vision kind of did a little more damage at the time than help. So I would say to anybody, just kind of take a step back and really figure out what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. And once you got that clear path, you can do whatever.
And I think that's great advice as well, too. And Atlas Cage, president of Sky Titan Media, the part of the group Strings of Atlas, and he's got the new album out, Chords of E, coming out very soon. And before we go here, we'd love to have you back on. Tell us again your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, and where can people listen to your music or purchase?
Yeah, everything. We have everything for sale and for stream on SkyTitanMedia.com. You can reach out on there as a contact form. Of course, we've got the usual of Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, we're trying to get a lot of it. Most of the items are on streaming as well. So like on Spotify and Pandora, which Pandora was a big goal for me. That one, when I got that, I remember getting that message on my birthday that after, I think it was like 8.5 months, that was on there. So that was very exciting. So You can stream that. And yeah, and the future albums, that's where they're going to go. I'm going to have them all up on there, get them all to your general platforms, and they can check out the vlog as well. That's another big one that's been exciting. Every week we're putting out a new video of just behind the scenes and what we do as people as opposed to just the music.
That sounds great. Atlas Cage from Strings of Atlas, president of Sky Titan Media. Atlas, thank you very much. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you in soon. And do us a favor, keep us up to date. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.